Fear, what is it? It can leave us quaking in our boots, feeling terrified about getting out of bed. It can leave us in tears, and worse, it can leave us feeling paralyzed about doing anything in our lives. But what is it? Simply put it, it's a biological and physiological response to an external event, or so it can be a real or imagined event. What does that mean? So it means that when we perceive a threat, our brain registers this and it stimulates the production of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which are fantastic when we're in physical danger. And what that does is it creates a physiological response in that it stops our digestive systems, it stops the regrowth and regenerative process that happen in the body, and it stimulates our muscles into action, ready to fight or go into flight. Perfect. Like I said, if you've got a real life situation which could cause you physical harm. But when you don't, we end up with a situation where we're stressed. And so the stimulus for this can be real. So, like, for instance, a real situation here could be, let's go for the usual kind of example that people give, caveman times. When we're hunter-gatherers, there's a lot of danger back then. Risk of wild animals killing us, that kind of thing. This was a real danger, getting killed from being maimed by a wild creature. But in our day-to-day lives, most of our fears are made up. We're afraid of what people will think of us. We're afraid of what our boss will say if we hand in something late. We're afraid of what will happen if we do a post on Facebook. And these are kind of real fears that we have because we feel them in our bodies. We are generating the same emotions, the same processes biologically in our bodies as we would if we had a real live physical threat. So what does this mean? It means that two things. If we're perceiving something to be dangerous, we can change our perception. It also means that fear is there to protect us. So when we feel fear, it's really a response to, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure I can handle that. What will happen if I muck it up? Fear is there as a guide and a way of protecting us from making a fool of ourselves, from getting hurt. And so when we understand fear from this point of view, and we understand that everyone has it, because there's some myths about fear, right? There's a belief that successful people don't feel fear, that somehow they're so confident and naturally have a natural ability that they can just see themselves through anything. And this simply isn't true. Not true at all. Successful people have their fear and do it anyway, in the words of Susan Jeffers, who's an amazing lady who wrote the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So, based on that, fear is actually there for us to protect us. It's like, I love this example, I'm pretty sure it's from T. Harv Eker, of the guy who's at the top of the mast looking out. He's going, oh, there's a rock over here, oh, there's a big wave over there, oh, there's this, oh, there's that. But you see, the person isn't just up there doing the lookout, he's also driving the ship. He's turning the wheel this way and that way. And you're just going for the ride because you're so caught up in these feelings. And understandably so, because of how we've been conditioned. So the other part of fear then, okay, is if we're perceiving danger where there perhaps isn't danger really, is where did those thoughts come from? How did you learn to be worried about what someone else will think? How did you learn that your boss might be angry if you handed in something late? And to feel fear around it? Well, the answer can be found mostly in our childhood, where our memories from that time. Some of us don't have a whole lot of memories from those times, and that's totally fine. But if you do, great, because you'll have some awareness of where you've learned these things from. So our fears aren't inherent. We weren't born afraid. So let me show you an example. So take a baby, for instance, newly into the world. For the first couple of years, they're just exploring everything. They have no sense of fear. But what happens if the baby is crawling along the sofa and then there's a drop? How does the parent react when it sees the baby about to fall? If they are like, oh my God, you're going to hurt yourself, oh no, and quite exaggerated about the whole thing, that baby's going to start feeling fear. It might not even know why it's afraid because it didn't perceive the potential danger in falling off the edge of a chair. But the parent did. And things like, this is really cool when you've got things like fears of spiders and things like that, because where did that come from? As a baby, you don't care. You're just into everything. You're picking things up and eating it. You don't care where it's from or what it is. But if you've got a parent or sibling that for some reason is afraid of spiders, no apparent reason, but they're just absolutely terrified, and you see how they react to something, you might just pick up that behavioral pattern as well. And it's just learned. You didn't have that. You didn't bring it in with you. So let that sit for a moment. Okay? You are not your fears. You weren't born afraid. You've learned them all. And the cool thing about this is it means that A, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. B, you can retrain your mind to think of something, to rethink and reperceive the things that you were afraid of. And I was going to think of a third thing and it's gone because I've just been distracted. But you get the point. That's it. So see, we can also look at them as a gauge, a compass to take us where we want to go, which is really cool. Because if successful people can look at fear and go, hey, well, that's cool. Can I handle it? I'm going to do it anyway, in the words of Richard Branson. Then maybe it's not that bad. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you found this useful. Did you have an aha moment? If so, please drop it in the comments. Be sure to like the video. I've got more videos coming up. Please do check them out. You'll love emotional intimacy, where I talk about how to actually overcome your fears through accepting that emotion just as it is and releasing it out. And you can do this in a minimum of 90 seconds. It takes a bit of practice, but you can get there. And this is the beautiful thing. You might not be able to do it straight away, but you can get there. And it's amazing when you do and you realize that you're doing it. So have an awesome day wherever you are in the world and have a fabulous day. Namaste.